Welcome to Various Views YouTube channel. The first episode of a BBC documentary titled India. The Modi question is circulating in the media. It claims the attitude of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government is against its Muslim population and that Modi's growth in politics remains controversial, citing the 2002 series of communal riots in Gujarat when he was the chief minister. So, let us have a rational eye on the claims in the documentary and find out whether they are true or not. About the Modi's role in 2002 Gujarat riots. Claim: Gujarat CM Modi was directly responsible for the climate of impunity that enabled the violence. He allowed riots to take place and did not take enough steps to control them. Fact: on 27 February 2002, 59 Hindu pilgrims and car sevaks, including many women and children, were charred to death in a fire set inside the S6 coach of the Sabarmati Express train near the Godhra railway station in Gujarat. They were returning from Ayodhya after a religious ceremony at the site of the demolished Babri Masjid. The fire broke out after an altercation between car sevaks and Muslim vendors at Godhra station. It was largely believed the train burning was a planned conspiracy by a Muslim mob. The horrific incident instigated three-day communal violence in Gujarat and escalated into riots across Gujarat, where Hindus attacked Muslims. CM Modi appealed for peace during the riots and wanted to control the riots. The government called out for army on February 28 and deployment commenced the same day, said the Supreme Court appointed Special Investigation Team (SIT). Then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee had to give his approval to move the army because of the tension after the terrorist attack on Indian Parliament in December 2001. Claim: Gujarat riot is a pogrom for the ethnic cleansing of Muslims. Fact: police firing during the riots killed hundreds of Hindus also. The Godhra incident changed the political scenario in Gujarat. Riots that took place later were also politically motivated. Some people with vested interests, NGOs, and political functionaries were trying to use the Supreme Court SIT for settling their scores. In 2013, a Supreme Court panel rejected a plea against the clearance given to Mr. Modi, saying there was insufficient evidence to prosecute him and no prosecutable evidence against his senior government officials. Again in January 2023, Supreme Court reiterated there was no larger conspiracy in the Gujarat riots. Claim: Imran Daud's British family killed in the riots. Fact: yes, Imran Daud's uncle Saeed and Shakil Daud and their childhood friend Muhammad Aswat were killed in the post-Godhra violence, along with an Indian driver. 18-year-old Imran Daud was badly injured at the time and saved by a patrolling police vehicle. The case was also investigated by the Supreme Court-appointed Special Investigation Team. A principal district judge said the prosecution failed to prove the charges leveled against all the accused, and the witnesses had failed to identify the accused persons. The court said in circumstances where there's a lack of sufficient evidence against the accused, they are acquitted. It is an undeniable fact that some innocents, both Muslims and Hindus, are killed during mob rioting, and it's definitely sad and unfortunate. About Modi and his government being anti-Muslim, Alishan Jaffrey, the journalist in the video, describes himself as reporting on hate crimes, and the rise of extreme political calls for genocide against Muslims are on the rise. However, there are one-sided views in the documentary. Riots took place even before Modi became popular. Contrary to the popular belief, Modi has worked for the welfare of Muslims also. It's just that he has come from a different RSS background, and his style of working does not fit the conventional approach. As Chief Minister of Gujarat, he has developed Muslim areas as well. As an Indian PM, he abolished the triple talaq, ensuring generations of Muslim women lead better life. He banned radical Islamic organizations like the Popular Front of India after consulting Muslim outfits. Modi presents Chater for offering at Ajmer Sharif Dargah. He has good relations with Muslim countries like Bahrain, the UAE, Palestine, Saudi Arabia, and Afghanistan. All the nations have conferred on him their top honor awards. On the other hand, some Muslim organizations are working on extremist campaigns to exploit the communal fault lines in India. There are also some well-learned Muslims who suffered in the riots and realized the importance of education and being well-informed to avoid becoming victims. What's more wrong in the documentary? Apart from the aforementioned flaws, the BBC documentary mentions witnesses which honorable courts in India proved wrong, dubious or orchestrated. Note, the documentary mentions them again after 20 years, declares them false or not proven, and then raises suspicion again. The documentary mentions Haran Pandya, the Home Minister of Gujarat during the riots, claiming Modi allowed the riots to continue and that he was murdered for leaking the secret. A POTA Prevention of Terrorism Act court convicted most of the 12 people who planned the murder of Haran Pandya. Asghar Ali, the prime accused, was found guilty of pulling the trigger on Pandya. As a matter of fact, soon after the Godhra incident, Modi said it was not a communal riot, but a terrorist act. Islamophobia in the UK. Reports from 2015 clearly indicate Islamophobic hate crime has risen sharply in London and the United Kingdom. There are also independent studies supporting it. Muslims were insulted and attacked, even the innocent women in hijab walking around on roads were knocked down unconscious. There are reports saying mainstream politicians and sections of the media are fueling the rise in Muslim hate crimes. Does that make Britain's Prime Minister anti-Muslim? In a large, diverse, and democratic country like India, communal riots can happen sometimes, especially when some political groups, people with vested interests, and paid media channels plant them. Experts explain riots are largely engineered to mobilize marginalized communities by invoking insecurity, communal consciousness and patriotism. To conclude, Gujarat developed well and became a model state under the leadership of Narendra Modi. He went on to become the leader of the world's biggest democracy and got elected twice as India's prime minister. It has been more than 20 years since the Godhra incident and the Gujarat riots. Most of the people implicated in the riots have already been sentenced, and post the riots, the police system, information, and control have been upgraded well. That ensured no major riots repeated till now. The BBC documentary is raising suspicions again after 20 years not respecting the verdict of the country's Supreme Court of Justice. The timing of it before the 2024 general elections commencing in India raises suspicions the motive behind it is negative propaganda. When trade agreements between nations fail and there's a Make in India movement, foreign nations, political functionaries, and media houses resort to such means to defame the ruling government and bring it down. BBC has a history of reporting anti-Indian stories to the extent that not many readers want to read them now, however hard-hitting headlines they come up with. So, it is not fair for BBC, a foreign media, to point out and exaggerate the 1% disturbance and disturb the 99% harmony prevailing in India. Crime of any kind should be seen as a crime, and the criminals should be brought to justice. It should not be seen and seen again repeatedly on religious grounds to divide communities and spread hatred amongst them.